What's up guys, Nor here and welcome to Book of Showtime Chapter 13. As always, be sure to like and share this video with your friends, and if you have a topic you'd like for me to cover for Book of Showtime, leave it in the comment section down below or anywhere you can reach me on social media or the Book of Showtime Discord. So my friend Ben asked me to talk about the Legend of Zelda series, and immediately after seeing his request I started brainstorming, and I literally I woke up and checked Discord, and that was one of the first things I saw. Like my mind just immediately got to work while I was barely awake while brainstorming. But I thought that doing a list of representatives I'd like to see in Smash would be really cool. He then asked me to talk about why Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda, and I thought to myself, you know what, I really enjoyed doing the Konami triple header a couple chapters ago, so maybe I do something similar for Zelda as well. So let's talk about why Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda. Even though I played, and feel free to get mad, I kinda don't care, 2 Zelda games start to finish, Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, I have played a good chunk of the series, even if only for a few hours. And while my opinion on the series is mostly positive, the games just historically haven't been for me. But I recognize and respect its legacy and its cultural impact, and Twilight Princess isn't just my favorite Zelda game, but it's one of my favorite games of that generation as a whole. Now, why Nor is this Zelda your favorite? Well, I just really like everything about the game. Seriously. I love the music, all the boss themes are really good, and I think the Hyrule Field Theme is arguably the best in the series. I love a lot of the character designs and aesthetics, like Agatha, you know, that girl who collected like the bugs, and Shay from the Resistance, she was really cool, and who could forget Midna in her true form, you know? I think the enemy design is great too, with the Dark Knot being probably the coolest it's ever been, and the dungeons and dungeon bosses are really well designed as well. Does anyone remember the city in the sky? That was like a massive undertaking when I was a kid. I was doing that dungeon for a long time. I was at my brother Nick's house, and I was really laboring through that thing, man. Especially since I was a hyperactive kid. I was playing it on the Wii, so you know I was really swinging that Wii mode and the nunchuck and all that stuff. I was really into the game, you know. The overall tone and vibe of Twilight Princess is a lot more darker and melancholy than we had seen in Zelda to that point, which to me makes it stand out still from other games in the series. I prefer when games like this are more darker in tone because, well, they should be. Like the fate of the world is literally on the line, man. Come on. People are like, hey Link, let's go fishing or pick pumpkins, and it's like, no dude, I gotta go train. I gotta fight gods and lords and all types of monsters, man. I gotta go train and get better. Now I admit, some of the game does lag in terms of pace, and the opening act is indeed a bit of a slow burn, and yeah, I know collecting light vessels is kind of boring and tedious, but still, when the game was flowing steady, I thought it was pretty engaging in terms of the combat and story. And even though I neglected the HD port, I still have fond memories of all the dungeons and all the little things that make Twilight Princess tick. One of my all-time favorites when it comes to Nintendo games, and I know it's not the most popular game in the franchise for a host of reasons, but I loved it and I still do. Moving on, one thing that has always bothered me with Smash rosters the last few years are the distinct lack of representation from the Zelda franchise. Nintendo has a lineage of characters that would translate tremendously well into Smash Brothers, and it's criminal that we are stuck with just 3 versions of Link, Zelda, Sheik, and Ganondorf, who really needs a rework. His special moveset is still similar to Captain Falcon despite all the source material they can use from the 30 plus years of Zelda games. If there is another Smash game, or maybe even another Smash Pass, which why are Nintendo games supported for like a year at most? Like, these games can be long time pillars. You know, if they do have another game or another Smash Pass, I'd love to see the Zelda series get what it deserves, and today I'll be going over a few characters that I'd personally like to see make the cut. Before I start the actual list, I do want to give an honorable mention to Naboru. This is a really left field idea, as not many people might know or remember this character, but I really loved her design and her arc in Ocarina of Time, especially because she was like so happy that Link came back for her after all that time had passed. Honestly, as I've gotten older, I've appreciated games more, and looking back, I do love the way time travel was used in Ocarina of Time, but I digress. It's not about Ocarina. I don't know exactly what Naboru would do, but she is the Sage of Spirit and does have a boss transformation into the Iron Knuckle from when she was brainwashed. But look, I just want to see one of my favorite characters get a nod, you know? I really loved her. Number 5, Impa. Impa has appeared many times in many forms throughout the franchise and is a vital character to the story no matter what role she serves. Often appearing as a sort of bodyguard or mentor to Zelda and Link, Impa is a member of the Sheikah, and her ninja-esque style would fit in nicely amongst the Smash roster, because right now I only got a couple of ninjas in that of Sheik and Lucario, so it would be really awesome to have more, we need more ninjas in this game. Her Age of Calamity and Ocarina of Time appearances are probably what would draw the most inspiration in terms of character design, and a lot more involved in terms of combat in those games. This is an iconic character within the franchise with a lot of history and can offer a more versatile, balanced, and experienced form of combat as opposed to Sheik's speed-based attacks. Imagine Impa throwing some clones at you in the middle of battle. That'd be a real game changer, wouldn't it? Number 4, Tetra. No, Nintendo, don't make a tuned Zelda, give us Tetra. This was probably the best iteration of the Zelda character in my opinion, as she was radically different from how we've seen the princess portrayed in the past. Tetra is a lot more hands-on than we've seen the princess be in other games, and even though she's young, she's extremely sharp and independent. As a pirate, she'd bring a little more chaos and unpredictability to the battlefield that would be a polar opposite of how Zelda traditionally carries herself with grace, elegance, and magic. Wind Waker is among the best of the Zelda franchise, and though Toon Link was a cool addition to the game, Tetra is a bona fide boss in my opinion, and arguably the star of the show, and she isn't one to rest on her laurels when there's some action going down. With her pirate background and heritage as Princess Zelda, there's a lot of ways they could design her kit, and it would do them well to have her stand out from the Zelda as she is right now. Honestly, it's a little surprising that we haven't had Tetra in the game already, but what do I know? I'm just a consumer. Number 3, Urbosa. I'm surprised that aside from Link being reworked, we really didn't get a proper Breath of the Wild representation in Smash Ultimate. Well, Urbosa would right that wrong. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't finished Breath of the Wild or touched it since 2020, but I'm putting Urbosa here because, well, she's awesome, she's tall, she's ripped, and she's beautiful. What more do I need to say? Aside from being a champion in Breath of the Wild, she's playable in Age of Calamity, so there's plenty of moves Smash can draw inspiration from. Truthfully, any of the champions are viable options to be included in Smash, as they all bring something unique to the table in terms of combat and style, but I personally like Urbosa the best. Did I mention she's beautiful? Number 2, Skull Kid. Similar to Impa, Skull Kid has appeared many times throughout the series, sometimes as a friend, but most famously as a foe in Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask offered a lot of different powers through various masks, so there's no shortage to what kind of character he can be. Maybe something between Pokemon Trainer Shulk or Hero, where you can don a select mask and receive buffs from that form for a short duration. It's fun to fantasize about a character like this in Smash because of all the ways they can build him. Skull Kid is something of a beloved cult figure in the Zelda series, as even though outside of Majora's Mask he's had limited screen time, he's still a very recognizable figure in the game's history. While he's appeared as a sticker, an assist trophy, and Mii fighter gear, Skull Kid is extremely deserving of his own spot as Smash as an actual fighter, no argument. Number 1, Zant. Probably one of the most wasted villains in gaming, Zant was revealed to be yet another pawn in Ganon's scheme, which is disappointing because Zant's presentation in Twilight Princess was fantastic. From his introduction to his boss fight, it's a real shame that he was second fiddle to Ganondorf this entire time. Zant was one of the better written baddies in gaming, and he had a bit of Hans Gruber to him. You know, he was always calm, in control, and he had this notion that he would just beat anyone who got in his way. Well, at least he was until later in the story, but that's neither here nor there. Zant is basically the true lone evil on this list, as even though Skull Kid was a villain, he was indeed redeemed by the end of his story. It's always good to have big-time villains in Smash, and Zant appearing would not only fit this need, but add in a rep for my favorite Zelda game. Zant had a very intriguing fight as he takes on the tactics of previously slain dungeon bosses, so his kit can draw inspiration from all of Twilight Princess as to really preserve and showcase the legacy of that game. Ganondorf has been the lone Zelda villain in Smash history, and Zant could possibly offer a much faster approach to complement Ganon's slow but extremely powerful offense. I'm not in the Zelda community, so I can't comfortably say he's underrated or underappreciated, but I personally liked his style, and he needs his respect. Let's give Zant some love, man. Zant for Smash, alright everybody? Zant for Smash, let's get it trending. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite Zelda game is and why, and what Zelda characters you think should be in Smash Brothers. Inshallah, I will see you in the next chapter.